For Reaction Now, let's welcome in our panelists. We're joined by Bobby Eberle, a Republican strategist and host of the 13-Minute News Hour. Also, Gunnery Sergeant for the U.S. Marine Corps, Jessie Jane Duff, is here with us as well. And finally, Newsmax contributor Jenna Ellis, along with us for the rest of this hour. Panelists, thanks for being here today. Bobby, start us off here. Again, we heard from Logan's report, focusing in on Virginia here. Do you think there's a chance a Republican could win?
Yeah, I think there's a great chance. You mentioned that one poll where Youngkin is leading. The other ones where he isn't, it's even in the margin of error. So there are great opportunities. But I wonder, Trump had endorsed Youngkin. So I wonder what's actually better, a Trump endorsement or the fact that McAuliffe has a D next to his name? Because with Biden's approval ratings going downhill, anyone with a D is in danger, I think, right now. I think the 2022 elections are going to be a wipeout for the Democrats. I think this one could go to the Republicans in Virginia, and it's just a sign that the Democrats can't lead, and it starts from the top.
Yeah, Jenna, Bobby brings up a good point, that Trump endorsement. We've seen that effect. We've seen it take a positive effect. Do you think it's the Trump endorsement, and what do you see happening with the midterms in 2022?
Well, absolutely. The Trump endorsement is very critical to a lot of these races. But I think that endorsement is even more critical in a lot of the primary races. And what we've seen over the last 18 months of all of the lockdowns specifically, and now some of these federal mandates that are just absolutely absurdly unconstitutional, is the power of federalism and how important it is to vote in state and local elections. So I think for a lot of Americans, and certainly families, conservatives, Republicans, everyone who's looking at these types of races, the reason that Republicans, genuine Republicans and conservatives, are in the lead is because we've seen how governors in blue states are abusing their powers. We want to, as Americans, get back to freedom, have our rights protected, and not have these abuses of power. So I think that Bob is absolutely correct that a D spells kind of disaster for the Democrats in 2022.
And Jessie Jane, how much of an impact, how much of a motivator is it, quite frankly, the mandates that we've seen during COVID, the shutdowns as well, the economy, job loss? How much is that going to encourage people to get out to the polls who might not have thought about those local elections?
Well, I tell you, from what we're seeing on national news reports right here, on Loudoun County alone, people are on fire with what's going on in public schools. And when you see Terry McAuliffe essentially endorsing every single rights violation for the parents and the children, you have to sit back and know that the Americans are tired of being put on the back burner in the public education system. Out in California, numerous numerous children have fallen off the radar simply because they're no longer in the school system while they're forcing these kids to wear masks while in school. So essentially, the mandates are a critical issue, along with the hypocrisy that we have seen from Terry, where he has actually gone out and celebrated, what was it, at Martha's Vineyard without his own mask on. And then you do have his underlining 2013 campaign, where he really crossed the line with some of his campaign finance ethics violations. I don't think Virginians want to go have a blast from the past, because the past has proven with Biden a failure, and we don't need more of the same old, same old. Virginia is ready for change.
Yeah, no, you're right. I know a lot of eyes are on that race, Jessie Jane. Bobby, we don't have a lot of time, but earlier this morning, President Biden, he blamed slow economic recovery on a surprising part of the population. Take a listen.
The unvaccinated also put our economy recovery at risk, causing unease in the economy causing unease around the kitchen table.
Bobby, he's saying that unvaccinated are the problem that our economy is facing.
Yeah, it's the problem everywhere except on the southern border, where we're not going to do COVID testing. We're not going to quarantine anyone. We're just going to let them into the country. It's just such a scapegoat right now. We know from the science that vaccinated, unvaccinated, anyone can carry it, anyone can get it, anyone can spread it. He's just using them as a scapegoat. It's bad politics.
Yeah. Again, there are plenty of questions about the CDC as well. I think about those Moderna and J&J vaccine recipients who just want some answers here. Again, Pfizer now recommended for 65 plus for a third dose. Bobby, Jessie Jane, Jenna, please stay with us. We've got a lot more to get to this hour. Meanwhile, this President Biden's economic agenda in danger of collapse if a deal can't be reached.
And Democrats' hefty price tag is what's causing all the infighting. But House Speaker Nancy Pelosi doesn't think so. Take a listen.
This is not about price tag. This is about what's in the bill. What's in the bill? For children, what's in the bill? Universal pre-K, child care, child tax credit, family and medical leave for their families, protecting the planet for them. It's about specific legislation. How much does that cost? How do we pay for it? It's about the climate issues, as I ended on that.
Okay, our panelists are back with us. And Jenna Ellis, we hear the speaker listing off a number of things here, but does she appear to know exactly what's in the bill and exactly how much everything's going to cost?
Not really. She seemed to kind of just pull that out of the top of her head. And nothing, by the way, that the speaker mentioned in that clip is actually within Congress's purview in Article 1, Section 8 that provides specifically the subject matter that Congress can legislate on. The Supreme Court has also acknowledged that Congress cannot simply legislate on anything that they want to. And so Biden's economic plan, if we're going by what Nancy Pelosi thinks is in the bill, is fully unconstitutional because Congress simply doesn't have that power. We have to remember that Congress and the federal government has specific, limited, enumerated powers. And this is all about the Democrats ignoring the Constitution, doing whatever they want because they are the elitists and they don't care about preserving and protecting our rights, which is the first and foremost chief obligation of government.
Yeah, Bobby, the $3.5 trillion plan doesn't have full Democratic support. We've got Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. They've issued that they have concerns. Do you think the party's going to find a solution?
No, I mean, I think this is hopefully DOA, and it's sad, though, that we're in a position where we have to rely on Sinema and Manchin to help, basically stop the Democrat agenda because we can't do it ourselves. This is just like the first 2 years of the Obama administration, where they had the numbers, they had the control, and they just tried to push. They got us Obamacare. And now they're trying to push this wish list of every left-wing radical program. And Nancy Pelosi doesn't know the price. She doesn't care about the price. She's just pushing an agenda. And it's hopefully it'll pass the House, I think, but it'll die in the Senate.
Okay, we're running.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.